Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari. Sounds like a dream for the fans, right? But according to the Scuderia itself, the 7-time world champion still has a lot to learn to get the most out of the SF25. Is this a problem for his debut season in red? Today we tell you the truth. Leave us your opinion in the comments. Do you think Hamilton will adapt quickly to Ferrari, or will he suffer like other champions before him? Since Lewis Hamilton's arrival at Ferrari was confirmed, expectations have been enormous. A 7-time world champion wearing the Scuderia's iconic red was something many fans had dreamed of for years. However, beyond the media impact, the big question is how Hamilton will adapt to a car that, historically, has presented challenges for drivers arriving from other teams. For over a decade, Hamilton has driven for Mercedes, a team that has built cars with a very particular philosophy: stability under braking, aerodynamic efficiency, and a balanced design specifically for his driving style. Over the years, Mercedes has developed cars with a clear tendency to generate a stable rear end, something that has allowed Hamilton to attack corners with confidence and maximize traction on corner exit. On the other hand, Ferrari has taken a different approach to the design of its cars. The Scuderia has struggled in the past with tire management and cornering stability, something that has forced its drivers to modify their driving style. A clear example of this was Sebastian Vettel, who during his years at Ferrari never felt completely comfortable with the car's behavior, especially under braking and when managing tire degradation. The big difference between the two teams lies in how they work with aerodynamic balance and weight distribution. While Mercedes has opted for cars that favor more aggressive driving on corner entry, Ferrari has historically produced cars that require more progressive and controlled handling, with particular attention to traction on corner exit. One of Hamilton's biggest challenges will be adapting to the Ferrari's response in certain types of corners. On circuits with many medium and low-speed corners, such as Monaco or Hungary, the Ferrari has proven to be competitive, but its performance has suffered on tracks where rear-end stability is key, such as Silverstone or Suzuka. The key will be how long it takes Hamilton to understand the SF25's particularities and adjust his driving style to get the most out of it. Charles Leclerc, who already has experience with the team and knows the car's characteristics, could have an advantage in the early races, something that could put additional pressure on Hamilton in his debut with Ferrari. If Hamilton can adapt quickly, Ferrari will have a lethal weapon in the fight for the championship. However, if he struggles to adapt, the Scuderia could lose important points in the battle against McLaren and Red Bull, who already proved to be formidable rivals last season. The big question is, can Hamilton do what Vettel failed to do and become the man who returns Ferrari to the top of Formula One? Since announcing Lewis Hamilton's arrival at Ferrari, the Italian team has been clear in its position. They believe his incorporation is a key step toward returning to the top of Formula One. However, they have hinted that his adaptation will not be automatic and that he will need time to fully understand the car and extract its maximum performance. One of the points Ferrari has emphasized most is the difference in design philosophy between its car and that of Mercedes. Over the past few years, the Scuderia has worked on the evolution of its car to improve in critical areas such as cornering stability and tire degradation. But there are still areas where its car behaves very differently than what Hamilton is used to. The team has noted that one of Hamilton's biggest challenges will be understanding how to manage the rear end of the car, as Ferrari has tended to build cars with a more twitchy rear end compared to Mercedes. This requires a different approach to corner entry and exit, forcing the driver to adjust his braking and acceleration style to avoid loss of traction. Team principal Fred Vasseur has been clear in his statements. Ferrari trusts Hamilton's ability to adapt, but understands there will be a learning period. They mentioned that they expect an adjustment process to take place in the first races of the season, with both Hamilton and the engineers working together to find the ideal setup that will allow him to fully exploit his talent. The team has also expressed its commitment to doing everything possible to facilitate this adaptation. They emphasized that Hamilton will have access to all the necessary tools, including advanced simulations, detailed telemetry data, and the full support of the engineering team, which has already begun to study the differences between his driving style and that of Charles Leclerc. One of the concerns Ferrari has highlighted is the need to find a balance between adapting the car to Hamilton and remaining competitive for Leclerc. Unlike other teams where a driver's development has focused more on his driving style, the situation will be different at Ferrari, as they will have two top-level drivers with distinct styles. Leclerc, who has been with the team for several seasons, already has an established working foundation with the engineers, while Hamilton will have to build it from scratch. The team has emphasized that the key to success is fluid communication between Hamilton and the engineers. They emphasized that their experience and technical knowledge will be crucial in providing accurate feedback on how the car responds in different conditions and how they can adjust the setup to maximize its performance. Furthermore, they acknowledged that adaptation will not only be necessary on the track, but also in terms of team culture and working methods. Ferrari operates differently than Mercedes in terms of internal processes, race strategies, and real-time decision-making. Hamilton, accustomed to the Mercedes structure, will need to adapt to an environment where decision-making can be more emotional and where media pressure is even greater. Despite the challenges, Ferrari is confident that Hamilton will bring in valuable value to the team. They highlighted his ability to develop cars, his skill in working with the engineers, and his winning mentality as key factors that can help Ferrari make the definitive leap towards contending for the championship. The team has made it clear that they don't expect Hamilton to revolutionize the Scuderia immediately, but they believe his experience will be crucial to accelerating the development of the car and improving in areas where they have been weak in recent years. For Ferrari, his arrival is not only a commitment to the present, but also an investment in the future, hoping that his knowledge and champion mentality will be the boost they need to return to the top of Formula One. Lewis Hamilton's arrival at Ferrari not only represents a major change for the Scuderia, but will also have a significant impact on the entire Formula One grid. His incorporation is a strategic move that could alter the dynamics of the championship, influence the development of the car, and change the way rival teams approach the season. One of the most immediate effects will be the internal struggle within Ferrari. With Charles Leclerc having established himself as the team leader in recent years, Hamilton's presence adds a new variable to the equation. Both are extremely fast and competitive drivers, meaning Ferrari will have to manage a relationship that could become one of the most intense on the grid. Historically, when two top-level drivers compete within the same team, tensions can arise. Ferrari has experienced similar situations in the past, such as the rivalry between Fernando Alonso and Felipe Massa, or between Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc. The key will be how the team manages this dynamic, ensuring both drivers work together rather than creating an internal struggle that harms the team's performance. Another key aspect of Hamilton's impact at Ferrari will be the development of the car throughout the season. His experience with Mercedes, a team that has dominated the hybrid era, will allow him to bring a different technical perspective. Over the years, Hamilton has been instrumental in the evolution of Mercedes cars, contributing with his ability to spot details that can make the difference in performance. Ferrari, which has shown a tendency to be inconsistent in terms of development, could benefit greatly from Hamilton's working methodology. His way of communicating with engineers, his focus on car setup, and his understanding of how to improve performance in qualifying and the race could help the Scuderia optimize its aerodynamic and mechanical package throughout the season. Hamilton's presence will also affect how rival teams compete against Ferrari. In 2024, the Scuderia finished second in the Constructors' Championship, just 14 points behind McLaren, which stood out with its significant development throughout the year. With Hamilton on board, Ferrari automatically becomes an even greater threat to McLaren, Red Bull, and Mercedes. Red Bull, which has dominated F1 with Max Verstappen, will not be able to ignore the fact that Ferrari now has a 7-time world champion with the ability to extract the best from the car in extreme conditions. If Ferrari manages to develop a competitive car from the opening races, the championship fight could become even tighter than it has been in recent years. In McLaren's case, their resurgence in 2024 positioned them as the team to beat in terms of development. With Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri leading the charge, Ferrari will have to contend with a team that has proven capable of efficiently evolving its car. Hamilton's arrival could be the factor that allows Ferrari to close the gap and prevent McLaren from becoming the dominant team of the new era. Mercedes, the team with which Hamilton won 6 of his 7 world titles, will also be affected by his departure. Although George Russell remains as team leader, the arrival of a new young talent like Andrea Kimi Antonelli means that Mercedes is entering a transition phase. Hamilton's absence could affect their development capacity, as they lose their most experienced driver and one of the key figures in the evolution of the car in recent years. Beyond the impact on rival teams, we must also consider the effect it will have on the fans and Ferrari's image. Hamilton is one of the most influential and high-profile drivers in the history of Formula One. His arrival at the Italian team will attract greater global attention, which will translate into more sponsors, more visibility, and greater media pressure. F1 has already experienced moments where a signing of this caliber changes the course of the sport. When Michael Schumacher arrived at Ferrari in 1996, the Scuderia went through a period of reconstruction that ended in an era of absolute dominance in the early 2000s. Although Hamilton is at a different stage of his career, his experience and winning mentality could mark the beginning of a new era for Ferrari, provided the team can provide him with a car worthy of his talent. The 2025 season will be key to determining whether this move was a good move or if expectations exceed reality. If Ferrari manages to offer Hamilton a competitive car from the start, we could be facing one of the most exciting battles in recent years, with a direct fight between Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, and Hamilton for the championship. However, if Hamilton's adaptation to the car drags on and Ferrari fails to find the necessary stability, the season could become a test of endurance for the team. Everything will depend on how quickly they can find the balance between the talent of their drivers, the competitiveness of the car, and the internal management of the team. What is clear is that the impact of Hamilton's arrival at Ferrari will be profound and will be felt at all levels of Formula One. His presence at the Scuderia not only redefines the team's aspirations but also changes the dynamics of the grid, raising the level of competition and paving the way for one of the most anticipated seasons in recent memory. Lewis Hamilton's arrival at Ferrari is, without a doubt, one of the most shocking moves in recent Formula One history. His incorporation into the Scuderia represents an ambitious commitment for both the team and the driver himself. Ferrari not only acquires a 7-time world champion with vast experience fighting for titles, but also a figure with a winning mentality capable of elevating the performance level of the entire organization. For Hamilton, this move marks a new chapter in his career. After a long career with Mercedes, where he built one of the most dominant dynasties in the history of the sport, the Briton now faces the challenge of returning Ferrari to the top of Formula One. The challenge is enormous, but his track record shows he knows how to face adversity and adapt to new circumstances. The big question is whether Ferrari can offer him a car capable of competing for the title from the start of the season. Over the past few years, the Scuderia has demonstrated speed at times, but has also struggled with consistency in car development and strategic decision-making in the race. If Ferrari manages to address these weaknesses and capitalize on Hamilton's experience, we could be looking at one of the most exciting championship battles in the last decade. Another key factor will be the relationship between Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. With two top-level drivers on the team, internal management will be crucial to avoid conflicts that could harm the team's overall performance. If Ferrari manages to channel the competition between them in a positive way, it could become an unstoppable team. But if internal tensions arise, the path to success will become much more complicated. On the other hand, Hamilton's arrival at Ferrari also affects its rivals. Red Bull, McLaren, and Mercedes now have to consider the Scuderia as an even more serious threat in the championship fight. This could lead to a season with multiple title contenders, something fans have been waiting for years. Expectations for 2025 are sky high, but there are also many unknowns. Will Hamilton be able to adapt quickly to the Ferrari car? Will Ferrari be able to offer him a competitive car throughout the season? How will the relationship with Leclerc develop? All these questions will be answered in the first Grand Prix, but what is certain is that Formula One is entering a new era of change and excitement. If you enjoyed this analysis and want to keep up to date with the 2025 season, don't forget to subscribe to receive more Formula One content. Also, leave your opinion in the comments. Do you think Ferrari and Hamilton can fight for the championship? Will this be the season in which the Scuderia returns to the top of motorsport? Your opinion is key to continuing the conversation and analyzing every detail of this new era in the sport's history together.